It's the grandson of Right Thought. Welcome to the School of Marvelous Light. Go to the book of Matthew, chapter 7. We're going to start reading there. Matthew, chapter 7. We're going to start at verse 12. Matthew, chapter 7, starting at verse 12. Therefore, all things, therefore is to sum it all up, or this is why I've come to the conclusion, that's what therefore means. All things whatsoever you would that men should do to you. Some things or all things, little flock. Whatever you want someone to do to you, whatever that may be, do you even so to them. Stop right there real quick, little flock. Whatever you want somebody to do to you, that's what you should do to them. Now, before we continue, do you understand already why the world hates Christ? Didn't he say that they did? And didn't he say that if you are on his team, that they would hate you because they hate him? Their hate for you is because of their hate for him. But do you see why they hate him? Just that quick? Off of that one little sentence? Do you see it, little flock? Whatever you want someone to do to you, do that to them. Now, just to prove that this was strange for the people to hear that, wait till you hear the last thing that we read. Okay, little flock? Wait till you hear it. So he says, whatever you want someone to do to you, that's what you should do to them. So do people steal from one another? Do people do each other wrong? Do they deceive one another? Do they take from one another? I would say yes. So then obviously those people are lawless. They don't follow that, do they? People that do wrong to one another obviously aren't following that, what he said, correct? Because they would realize that the thing that they're doing to someone else is actually a way of telling everybody to do it to them, based off of what we just read, right? So like I said, the deceiving, the committing adultery, the coveting, the envying, the backbiting, the murmuring, the hating, the disguising intent, all of this wicked stuff that men do to one another. Would they do it if they understood that they were only doing it to themselves? When someone does someone else wrong, then that proves that he doesn't know God. It proves it. See that there? Because it proves he doesn't know who he's hurting by the wrong thing that he's doing. You see that there? It proves he doesn't know he's hurting himself. He's doing it ignorantly. Okay? Now watch this here, little flock. Watch this. Do you even so to them? For this is the what, little flock? This is the law and the prophets. Stop there, little flockery. Stop right there, little flockulators. We're going to chill right here by these little still waters and we're going to drink some. Now, wait a minute here. This is the law and the prophets. What is the law and the prophets? That you do unto others as you would have them do unto you, just like Christ just said. So everything that the law said, everything that the prophets said, can be summed up in this one saying. You see why he said therefore? And I told you what therefore means. I have come to the conclusion, or the sum of the whole situation is this. What was Solomon saying in Ecclesiastes about this world? He said it was vanity, right? But he said that there's something that's not. And he said, let's hear the conclusion. See, therefore, I have come to the conclusion. Let's hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear El and keep his commandments. Well, what is his commandments? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. This is what the whole law taught you. This is what all the prophets were teaching you. Everything that you read is summed up in this one saying. Love one another as I have loved thee. For love is the fulfillment of the law. Does it change, little flock? Will it change? Does it depreciate or alter? No, it doesn't. Everything that the law spoke of, everything that the prophets spoke of was about this one thing. And Yahushua just made it clear. For this is the law and the prophets, that you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, people know within themselves that they want to be treated good. They want to be treated with respect. Well, then, if you want that, then you must give it. You must do unto others as you would have them. So then your action comes out of a desire for what you want. If you're wise, you see that there? If I want something, if I want to be blessed, or I want to be spoken well to, or I want to be treated right, then when I see my neighbor, I'll do that to them. If I'm following this protocol here that I've just read. Are you, little flock? Do you know that everything you read in the law and prophets is summed up in that one saying? Do unto others as you would have them do unto you, for this is the law and the prophets. So if someone is to ask you, what was the law and the prophets about? What should be your answer if you say you follow Yahusha? If you don't follow Yahusha, then make up whatever answer you want to make up. Uh-oh, y'all, I smell some honeysuckle. I smell some honeysuckle, y'all. What's that there? Look at all this honeysuckle. Look at this, y'all. Hold on, let me get me a little bit. Boop. See that there? You see it? So y'all see that today, little flock? It's all equals this. So then how come people talk about equations and math problems when it comes to the law and the prophets, instead of just giving you the equation, the answer to the equation, the sum of it? What does it all come to? Well, it all comes to this, this one saying. All right. So then when people ask me about it, shouldn't I give them that one saying? Now, why wouldn't I? I'm asking you guys. If someone was to ask me, what is the law and prophets saying? And I don't say what Yahusha said, why? If I follow Yahusha, why would I give you a different answer than what he just gave? This is why I tell you, it's a waste of time to talk about anything other than loving one another, because that was the purpose of the law. That was the intent of it. But if you do not judge the intents, then you're not like God. You don't judge the way God judges, because that is what God judges, the intent of a thing. Did you know that, or did you not know it? Did you know it, or did you not know it? So I told you all of these things. Don't commit adultery. Don't covet. Don't steal. Don't lie. Don't. Are you noticing that everything he's saying don't do is about how you treat your neighbor? Steal. Okay, that's about my neighbor. Covet. That's about my neighbor. Envying. That's about my neighbor. Bearing false witness. That's about my neighbor. Don't do anything harmful, because if you do, then it will happen to you. So if you want peace, a peaceful environment, then you must be peaceful. Because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. See how it all connects? You see that there? So let's continue. For this is the law and the prophets. 13. Enter ye in at the straight gate. Do you know what the straight gate is now? What does straight mean? Some people may read that and think it means in a straight line. That's the different straight. This word straight, have you ever heard of something like the Strait of Hormuz when it's speaking about a body of water? When you get to the strait of the body of water, what does it look like? Someone would say, well, it starts to get narrow in that place. The strait is the narrow place that connects two bodies of water. It is that very narrow place. That's right. Ding, 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 ding. So then that gate is in like fashion. It connects two worlds together. So in order to get to the other world, you have to pass through the straight gate, the narrow gate. That's why he also called it a narrow path. It's straight and narrow. You see? Straight and narrow. Continuing. Enter ye. So he tells you to go there. Go into that narrow gate. For a wide, see how he gives you the opposite? So you know it's not about straight in a straight arrow. It's about being narrow. It ain't about being straight as an arrow. It's about actually just being narrow. Y'all hear me today? For wide is the gate, and broad, see the difference, is the way that leadeth to destruction. Wide and broad leads to destruction, but narrow and straight leads to life. See that there? Because straight is the gate, 14. Excuse me, let's go back. For wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go therein. Many go there. So the narrow path, he just told you what it is, which is do what you want done to you to others. So if you steal, then you want to be stolen from. It's just that simple. If you kill, then you want to be killed. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. If you want to deceive, then you will deceive yourself. If you want to extort, you will be extorted. That's Abba's law he put in place. This is the law and the prophets. See? You can't get around it. It is immutable, which means it does not change. So anybody thinks they're slick and thinks they can rob, steal, kill, destroy, and lie, and nothing will happen to them, they're just deceiving themselves. Because it will. Because Abba says it will. Just because you don't say it will, don't mean it won't. You see that today? He says, because straight is the gate, verse 14. So that means very narrow. And narrow is the way, see, which leadeth unto life. Told you that, little flock. That will lead you to light. That narrow path of that one single idea. Do unto others as I would have them do unto me. That's where I walk. Everybody else is walking on all kind of different shit. Wide paths, which means a lot of shit they're doing. Don't steal, don't kill, don't this, don't that, don't this, don't that, don't wear this, don't talk like that, don't look like this, don't do like that. You better watch like this, you better do like this. Whew. Putting heavy burdens on men that they themselves will not lift one finger to carry. See what I'm saying to you, little flock? Yahushua's not putting a lot of burdens. He said one little thing there. He summed it all up. That makes it easy to me. That makes it easy. So if you just stay on that straight path of being harmless, like he told you to be, then you won't bring harm to yourself. That's what makes a sheep scared. Harm. That's what makes him afraid. Harm. Something's going to happen to me. No, it won't. Not if you keep this command, it won't. Love one another as I have loved you. And then you will conquer the world. You will overcome it as I have. See that there? The 144,000 that are sealed, didn't it say that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb? The blood of the Lamb is those words that you just read. Aren't they in red? See? You hear that? So what happens to a man what happens to one who comes here to this place? He must die to come here. He must die to wherever he was in order to enter this place. And when he leaves this place, he will die to this place and go into another, doesn't he? Because that's what you do when you pass through states of being. If you're afraid and something switches that feeling and you become brave, then you have left that state. You see that, little flock? You've left that state of being afraid, of being fearful. All the thoughts and feelings associated with that are now washed away and gone when you become brave. Or as scripture says, perfect love cast out fear. Because cast out the bondwoman and her son, for they should not be heir with the free son. You see, because they're two different states of being. One is fearful, that's the slave, that's the bondage, that's Hagar and Ishmael. One is fearful, one is thinking lackful thoughts, one is thinking fearful thoughts. But one is free, one is thinking, I am safe, not fearful, I am loving, I am protected. That's the free man. They cannot inherit the same existence, the same state. They cannot inherit it because as a man think is what he is. They're not thinking the same. How can they inherit the same? They cannot. See that, little flock? He says, narrow is the way which leads unto life, and how many be that find it? Few. There's a few that find that. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay, that's what I follow now. See, I had to cast away the old to follow the new. Don't steal, don't kill, don't. Wait a minute. I can fulfill all of that by just doing what I want done to me. I don't want to be stolen from. So then I won't steal. It's that simple, nigga. I don't want that. Whatever it is, I don't want that. Well, then I won't do it. I only do what I want. So I want to be told the truth. I tell the truth. I want to be enlightened. So I enlighten. I want to be free. So I set free. Do y'all hear this today or what? Do you hear it today or what? Very, very simple. Verse 15, beware of false prophets. See how he just jumps right over there? Why do you think so? Because he knows that there will come people who will tell you things other than what he said the prophet said. He said the prophets can be summed up in this: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So if there's another so-called prophet that comes and doesn't teach that, is he false or is he true? Look how easy this is to do, little flock. Somebody coming with a whole bunch of burdens, then you know that ain't Yahusha, because he doesn't do that. He doesn't come with a bunch of rules and a bunch of burdens. He come to liberate. Where the spirit is, there is liberty. So when you see somebody claiming they're speaking of the spirit, but yet they're not speaking of liberty, then they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just a false prophet lying to you. That's it. That's why he's saying this, you see. He says, beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing. So what they say sounds good. How they look looks good. They look the part and they sound the part. You see that there? It seems like they're right. It seems like they're here to benefit me and help me. I assume that's why he's disguised. Because he wants me to think that he's helpful to me, that he's a friend to me, that he's a compatriot along with me. He wants me to think that. Didn't Judas want Yahusha to think that? Yahusha didn't. He knew who should betray him. So he wasn't fooled, nor was he deceived. You see? Because Judas, if you catch what he said there, when that woman broke that spikenard bottle, what did Judas say? Why did you waste that on Yahusha? We could have taken that, sold it, took the money and given it to the poor. The scripture says he did not care for the poor, but he held the bag. So then we see the intention of his heart. The intent of his heart was to get that spikenard from that woman, sell it so that he could put it in the bag that he was holding. He liked the feeling of having a lot of money on his hip. What did he sell Yahusha out for? Would it happen to be money? So then it's not strange that he loved money. Well, what does it say about the love of money? It said he held the bag. That means he loved it. He loved the feeling of holding that bag on his hip with the money in it. You notice that? You notice Yahusha didn't hold the bag? Do you notice that? But Judas did. And it said he didn't care for no poor. So then why did you say with your mouth that you did? Because you want to appear to be a sheep. But you're not. You want to appear to be good, but you're not. You love to get. You love to acquire. That's what Cain means. So then whose child are you? Yahusha made it plain and clear to everybody. You are of your father, the devil. Who's Cain's father? He was a murderer from the beginning. Who was the first murderer? And abode not in the truth. Am I my brother's keeper? Well, according to the prophets in the law, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You want somebody to kill you, Cain? Do you see how it goes, little flock? He broke the commandment right from the beginning. He had already broken the commandment to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So they come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly, where the important stuff is that I keep trying to tell you guys about inward, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. So what if there was a sheep, but outwardly he looked as a wolf? Will you judge him on that and say, he's a wolf? Then you're stupid for doing that, aren't you? Just because a sheep put a wolf hat on his head and a wolf jacket on, you thought he was a wolf? He's still a sheep, isn't he? Well, yeah, he is still a sheep. Okay, so then stop acting like he's a fucking wolf. Just like that wolf that got that sheep shearling on. This nigga got a shearling coat on and shit, and an afro on his head, and you think he's all of a sudden a sheep with some woolly hair. No, he's still a damn wolf. He's still a wolf. So then don't treat him like he's a sheep just because he looks like one, just because he acts like one. That don't make him one. Didn't he say that the ravenous wolf? Do you know what ravenous means? Greedy, hungry, can't get enough, starving, want to tear you to bits. He's got on a disguise that looks like you. So did Judas. But inwardly, just like the scripture says, take that money, we could have gave it to the poor. Not that he cared for the poor. So then why'd you say that with your mouth? Why'd you lie? Because he's wicked. He's the son of perdition. That's why. He's lost. That's why. See that there? 16. You shall know them by their fruits. You see that there? Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. This is what I was telling you guys yesterday. Every good tree brings forth good fruit. So that means if you happen to get some good fruit, where'd you get it from? You got it from a good tree. That's simple. You don't get good fruit from a thorn. You don't get good fruit from a thistle. This doesn't work that way. You see that? You have to get it from the right tree. In other words, if I want an apple, I must go to an apple tree. Nigga, y'all think the fruit just miraculously appears without the tree? It's the type of tree that determines the type of fruit I get, isn't it? I don't plant a pear tree and get apples, do I? I plant an apple tree to get apples. Same thing with God. He plants a truth tree that gives true fruit. You may have never seen a truth tree. You may be astonished when you see it, but that doesn't mean it's not one. It's a new type. It's a new creation. That's why it's new when you see it. Never seen nothing like that. I've never seen a preacher like that. I've never seen a follower of Christ like him. He's new. Behold, I make all things new, including you. You are now a new creation. So that if you're a new creation, that means that when you were created and you became a new creation, the old was passed away. Does the scripture says that? Does it say we die daily? What do we die to? The old. And we live in the new. See that there today, little flock? If you have a husband, if you're a woman and you have a husband, and his name is Johnson, and you get a new husband whose name is Jackson. Johnson dies. You're his wife, but he dies. So, which means you're free to marry again. You marry a new man named Jackson. Does your name still stay Johnson? If your name is Bethany, you were Bethany Johnson. That man died. Your new husband's name is Jackson. Aren't you named Bethany Jackson now? Does your husband want you to ever be Bethany Johnson again? Your new husband, does he ever want you to be Bethany Johnson again? Or does he want you to stay Bethany Jackson? And you have to die to Bethany Johnson every day, even if you're looking back longing. That shit don't do nothing but turn you to a pillar of salt from what I heard. Looking back at the old life when you're given a new one. Don't look back. That's what I heard. or you'll get salty. That's all that happens when you look back. In other words, when you look back at your old life, when you've been translated into the new, all it's going to do is make you cry. Now, when you lick those tears, what do they taste like? When you after you're crying and it is dried, doesn't it turn white? Those white streaks on your cheeks, why is it white? It wouldn't happen to be because it's salty. It'd make you sad. Ah, boy. All right, guys. Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. See the other type of tree there is? A corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit. Can a good tree bring forth evil fruit? So if you judge a tree to be a good tree, then can you turn around and say that the fruit you got from that tree is evil? Can you do it? Or are you just not judging right? Are you just astonished? Are you bewildered by the newness that you see? Well, caterpillar ain't nothing but a butterfly. But if a caterpillar is sitting there on a leaf of a flower, he'll look up at the flower and he'll notice there's a beautiful big ass butterfly sitting there drinking nectar. He may not recognize that he's the same thing as that guy, just yet to be transformed. He has not gone through the metamorphosis process. So he may not recognize that. He may be scared when he sees it. He may run. He may hide. He may just be astonished when he sees the butterfly. Wow, look at that dude. It's just you. But you haven't been born again yet, but you will be eventually. See that there, little flocker? 18. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. So if a tree is corrupt and you claim you got some good fruit from that tree, then are you telling the truth or are you just lying? What does the scripture say? A mulberry tree brings forth mulberries. You see, little flock? Mulberry tree brings forth mulberries. This ain't very ripe yet, but y'all see that, little flock? I can eat that. It's pretty good, actually. It ain't all the way ripe yet, but it's pretty good. But y'all get my point, don't you? A good tree brings forth good fruit. Other plant may not bring forth no fruit. See this here? Can I gather some mulberries from this? Nope, I sure can't. So ain't no need in worrying about that, dude. You see, I don't gather any berries from that. I only gather berries from the mulberry tree because he bears the good fruit. Don't you see how that's going, little flocky? Don't you see how it's going? So he makes the very clear distinction between the two trees. Verse 19, every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down. You remember the little weed I was just showing you on the ground? These are not good for anything but to be cut down. This shit. This ain't good for nothing but to be cut down. It doesn't bear any fruit worth anything. You see that, little flock? Don't you see it? It's not good for anything but to be hewn down. That's what you do with your yard. You cut it on down. The excess stuff that you don't get fruit from. You see that there? Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. See? Like the weeds. Wherefore, by their fruits you shall know them. So just like I'm walking down the street, I don't know what all of these plants are called in this alley. I don't need to know what they're all called. All I'm interested in is, does it bear fruit or not? Now, the plants that I notice that do, like this mulberry tree I just showed you that's bearing the berries, then I know that that's a tree worth keeping. If I was going to live in this little spot right here, I'd keep that. Why, little flock? Because it's bearing good fruit for me to eat. It may not be beautiful. I may not even recognize the name of it. I just know it by its fruit. So you see, I know its value, so I keep it. I don't cast it down. That's what God does on the earth. He passes by through an area and he looks to see if there's any fruitful branches there. And if he sees, like I saw, the mulberry, he'll keep it. But he's going to tear all these other weeds down and get rid of all the excess and clear it out of the way, just like you would do. This is a good plant, keep it. This is a good plant, keep it. Why are you saying it's good? It's because it got fruit on it. That's why I'm saying it's good. Do you even know the name of that tree? No, I don't. But I'm going to give it a new name. I'm going to call it this because it gives me this. Y'all don't see how that's going. They're like, what about all the other weeds and everything? Oh, we're going to get rid of that, man. Now look at this, guys, just to prove my point. Just to prove my point. Look at that right there. Y'all see these weeds? What are you noticing about how they look? They're twisting up, turning brown, and they're wilting. Do you think they're doing that because it's winter or some natural thing? No, it's because it's been sprayed with Weed B Gon. Some Roundup was sprayed on that shit. That's how it starts to look before it completely goes away and withers and dies. It starts to look like that when you spray it. You see that there? So why is it sprayed? Because it's corrupt. It's useless. It's only cumbering the ground. So then get rid of it. Isn't this easy to be understood? It's only cumbering the ground, which means it's wasting space because you can't eat from it. So it doesn't actually help you. It doesn't benefit you for it to be there, just like a tear does. Wheat is valuable because you can eat from it. That's why it's valuable, because it bears fruit. Tares are not valuable. Does it say the tares will be bundled up and cast into the fire? Then this is easy to be understood. You must bear fruit in order to stay planted in the garden, or you will be uprooted and cast into the fire. That's simple. So every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire, whereby by their fruits you shall know them. Just like if you went to a new land, like I told you, and it was unfamiliar, but somebody put you in a plot of some land and say, here, that's for you. You can live there for free. And so you would go through the land and see what was valuable to keep and what was not. And how you know what was valuable is the good fruit that's on it. Ooh, a pear tree. Ooh, the pears are good. Keep that tree. Uh-oh, a big-ass weed. What are you doing here? Nothing but taking up space. Pull him out and hew him down and get rid of him. Ain't it easy? Ain't it easy to be understood? And what happens if you get to a tree that's supposed to have fruit on it and it doesn't? Well, what did Yahushua do when he got to the fig tree that didn't have any fruit on it? It withered and died. Henceforth, don't let no figs grow on you. That means you didn't do what you were made to do, so then you die. You didn't bear any fruit. So then why are you here in my garden, taking up space? Why are you here? That's what you would do, but you don't think God does that with his garden. Well, he must prune it in order for it to flourish. That's the pruning process, the hewing down of the unwanted things. See there, little flocker. Not everyone that says to me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Who did Yahushua say was his mother and his brother? Those who do the will of the Father. So you see how it doesn't change? What is the will of the Father? That you love one another. It will not change. It will not depreciate. It will not alter. So then it will always stay the same. You can stand on it and your house won't fall. Let's see if Yahushua mentions that about sticking onto that narrow path. Sticking on it. Don't go off of it. Don't change. Don't deviate from the path. Stay on it. You see, because it leads to life. It'll take you where you want to go. 22, many will say to me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? That's the weeds. They didn't have any fruit. So he's about to uproot it and the weeds start screaming, no, don't take me out, don't take me out. I bore fruit, I did this, I did this, I did this. How come I don't see any fruit then? How come I can't eat anything off of you? Why would I leave you if I can't eat from you? You can, that's all, folks. You can skiddly do all the hell you want. That's all. Get out of my garden. See how that goes? See how that goes? Many will say to me, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. So what is working iniquity? Because those are who he's told to depart. Iniquity are people who don't do things that they want people to do to them. They do things that they don't want people to do to them. That's iniquity. It's that simple. It's that simple. You don't do what you want done. You do what you don't want people to do. So you don't want people to lie to you. Matter of fact, you'll judge them harshly for lying to you, but you lie. You would judge someone harshly for stealing, but you steal. Why do you think Christ said, you hypocrites, get that shit out of your eye you got? You're trying to get a little speck out of your brother's eye, but look at the shit in your own eye. You're telling him don't lie, but you lie. You're telling him don't steal, but you steal. You tell him don't extort, but you extort. Don't take bribes, but you take bribes. What the hell is going on, you hypocrites? See that little flocker? He says, then I would tell them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you that work iniquity. Continuing. Verse 24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, that's the key. So you hear it and then you do it. So you heard him say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All right, that's what I do. I don't want to be stolen from. I don't steal. I don't want to have somebody lay with my wife, so I won't lay with his. It's that simple. It's that simple. You see? I will liken him unto a wise man. So the man that does what Yahushua says is a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. Remember I told you we were going to see this? And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the wind blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. That means everybody's going to come to test that theory of yours once you proclaim it. You guys are running around here think you know some shit, just like the grandson do. I'd be like, y'all think y'all know some shit. Y'all don't know anything. And if you think you know something other than what I have told you, then come on up here so I can smash you down like a damn whack-a-mole. Why do you think I talk like that? Let's read this one more time. The rain descended, the floods came, and the wind blew. Come on, come at me. Let's see what you got. Let's see if I'm going to fall off this rock. See, that's only because I believe what he told me. So y'all think I'm boasting. I'm boasting in him. I'm boasting about what he's done. He's the one who's done this. You see? I'm just clarifying it and proving it, saying I'm on the rock now, so come on, rain. That's anybody who thinks they know something else, see? Come on, floods of information. Come on, Pharisees. Come on, Sadducees. Come on, prophets of Baal. Come on, anybody who think you got something. And I'm going to whack your ass down, nigga. That's simple. See how that going, little flock? I will liken him to a wise man, see? And it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not. So the ones that hear it, see, they heard it. They all heard it. But they didn't do it. No, I don't think that's right. I think Torah is this law written on this stone right here. Proving that your heart is that damn stone. He said he's going to give you a new heart of flesh. And he will write his laws upon it. Well, if you're looking at the old stony heart, trying to keep that, then you're proving your heart is hard. Why did he say Moses gave them the right to give a bill of divorcement? Watch this, how I foot sweep these bitches. Why did Moses give you guys a bill of divorcement? From the beginning, it was not so. So why did Moses do it? Because of the hardness of your hearts. See their little flock? See? So the old law is for hard-hearted people. Were the Israelites hard-hearted, rebellious, stiff-necked, hard-headed? The most rebellious house? That's what the Bible says. So then they need a law for that. But once their hearts have been brought into Christ, and the only way you can get to Christ is with a broken heart. Now that stone has been broken, and now it's ready to be written upon on a new fleshly heart, because the stone has been broken off of it. Your heart has now been circumcised. It has been unveiled. What was underneath that foreskin, called the stone. Now it's been revealed, the soft, tender, fleshy heart that can now be written on. The tender and delicate man among you, tender and delicate woman among you. That's the blessing, but the curse shall turn evil. See? Hard-hearted. So they don't do the words that they heard. I know I heard Christ said love fulfills. I know I heard that. Love is the law and the prophets. I know I heard that. But the prophets were talking about other stuff too. You're just rebellious. You just think you got something that Yahushua didn't give you. Yahushua forgot to tell me this. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said it's finished. So what the hell did he forget to do? So the ones who don't do what they heard shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon sand. And the rain descended. See, people start asking questions. Well, Yahusha right here, he said this. But Yahusha said right here this. What about right here in Romans when it says love fulfills the law? That goes right along with what Christ just said right there. So then what's all this stuff you're talking? The rain descended, see. The questions descended. The floods came, see. All the other feelings and emotions that people have about what he said came to attack what he said. See that there? And what else happened? And the wind blew. Be not led about with every wind of doctrine. So that means other doctrines came around. See? See there? And what happened when they came around? And they beat on that house. See, they beat on his doctrine. And it fell. And great was the fall of it. So what happens next? And it came to pass when Yahusha had ended these sayings, the people were astonished. The people were what? They were astonished at his doctrine. See their little flock? Why were they astonished if they had already understood it? It's because they didn't. Why were they astonished if it was something that they were familiar with? It was because it was new. That's why they were astonished. Wait a second. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I never heard that before. I've always heard thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. That's what I was hearing. I never heard what I should do. Well, now that's the part where it says he brought you unto Christ. And when he brought you unto Christ, you got a new commandment. Behold, I give you a what? New. Now, what was the new? That you will love one another as I have loved you. So do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Christ says, love each other as I have loved you. This is how they know who the children of God is, the ones who love each other. Because God is love. So if a man loves, he has obtained God. See? He's wrestled and prevailed. That's what it means. So can y'all receive this today, little flock? Y'all are the only ones who can. It's about hearing Yahusha's words and then doing them. And when you do them, then you become bold, because the righteous are as bold as a lion. Now, when you see how I preach the word, would you say I preach the word bold as a lion? Is my name the grandson of righteousness, the branch of righteousness, or the grandson of right thought? Is that my name? So the way that I am, does it match up with who I say I am? So that means that I am who I say I am. See what I'm telling you right there, little flock? How could I say I'm the grandson of right thought, but yet I'm not bold when I preach? Well, then you're not righteous at all, because the righteous are bold. They're like, come at me, bro. Come at me. I know I'm thinking right. Are you? Shit. Because if you are thinking right, then you'll just stand next to me on this rock. You won't fight me. You'll just stand next to me. But if you fight me, I'm going to ground you to powder. That's all that's going to happen. I'm going to grind your ass down to powder. What do you think this rock does that I'm standing on? If it falls on a man, it will grind him to powder. Did I say that, or does the scripture says that? Can't fall on you if you're standing on it. Y'all can't hear that though? I don't know. Maybe you can. I know the little flock can. And that's all that matters. It's that the little flockulators get it. Because it's time to flocculate. It's time for the flockulators. It's time for the flockulators. It's time for the flockulators. Y'all see that little flock? It's time for the flockulators. Time to flocculate. So let's flocculate. So we can chase these crazies up out of here. Silwa Misraela.